but it feels like such an incredible journey, and the performance elevates the ideas in the script so much that to see this harrowing trip through Vietnam only for the message to be the generic "war is horrific" doesn't really feel like it was worth it in the end. Welcome back to my channel, movie fans, and thank you for clicking on my review for The Greatest Beer Run Ever, starring Zac Efron, and begins streaming this Friday on Apple TV+, based on the unbelievable true story of Chickie, who finds himself lost in his life but wants to show support for his friends fighting over at Vietnam, and so he decides to do something wild. He gets a job aboard an oil ship for the sole purpose of personally bringing them American beer. And what starts as a simple, well-meaning journey quickly changes Chickie's entire life and perspective. This is Peter Farrelly's follow-up to Green Book, a film that I still love despite the internet pretending that it's a bad movie after winning the Oscars. Not that I necessarily agree that it should have won the Oscar. This film is entirely carried by Zac Efron's effortless charm on screen as a man who seeks to challenge the world's view of him. His friends and neighbors see him as someone who just never follows things through. He promises to finish high school to get a job, but he constantly quits. He talks the talk, but he never fully walks the walk. So when he makes this haphazard promise to bring beer to the boys over at Vietnam, he finally fully commits to something, and through this journey finds his own worldview and convictions about what the boys are fighting for, what the country stands for, and all the glamorous ideals of patriotism and America fighting over at war. He gets all these views challenged and is able to receive a new perception of reality from all the people he encounters all over his journey, be it the locals at Vietnam, the journalists working there that have witnessed the horrors of war, and even his friends who constantly question what he actually is doing there. Everyone takes this journey of his as a joke, however, but there's something really compelling about this character who's just so fully committed to get to his friends, to offer them a moment of joy and reprieve from the horrors of war, that the deeper this character goes into the battlefield, the further he goes into the jungle where the war is happening, the more the horrors of war fall onto him, and he witnesses what his friends are actually going through. And that's something that I think Peter Farrelly does very well. It's juxtaposing this whimsy and wondrous view of the world that is contrasted with the grittiness of what is actually going on. And where Chickie starts as someone who truly believes in the American ideals, he then sees it firsthand what it's actually doing to his friends and to the community he once held so dear that feels now scattered all over the world, fighting for a war that is not theirs whatsoever. So there's some nice depth to be found through this story, and all of it is offered by Zac Efron. This dude just keeps delivering great performances after great performances, and I just wish he always had a great script to work with, because this is a nice little story about friendship. I should say I am a sucker for films about friendship and loyalty, which this film very much is, and as we see the lengths one goes for their friends, I don't think there's any limit to it. There is no last call for friendship, as the film puts it, and I saw constantly Zac Efron playing and acting out the potential and the themes of this story so much better than the script and the direction actually do. They feel somewhat generic in their messaging. There are attempts at getting deeper, but it feels like the film is in battle with itself and not allowing itself to go to that deeper level and just play out in more pleasant ways. There is some gnarly imagery, there is some powerful enough messaging, but it's very familiar. It's very, war is bad. We've seen that before. We're aware of this. Does the film add anything? It adds this nice current about friendship and this dude who wants to prove himself to his people, his peers, and his friends. And there's quite a few heartfelt scenes in that, mainly because Zac Efron is so good, he's charismatic, he's genuine on screen, but the film is only elevated by him and not the other way around. And that's because despite the presence of some deeper themes within the script, Farrelly's direction prefers to play this as a more conventional crowd pleaser. Nothing wrong with that, but it feels like such an incredible journey, and the performance elevates the ideas in the script so much that to see this harrowing trip through Vietnam only for the message to be the generic "war is horrific" doesn't really feel like it was worth it in the end. But before we crack a cold one open and toast to my final thoughts on The Greatest Beer Run Ever, I need you to start the conversation about it in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on the film. What's the biggest effort you've made for your friends? And did you know about the real story before the film? Anything and everything down there. And if you're enjoying this review, if you love in general movies and TV, this is the place to be. So consider clicking that subscribe button and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. I have nothing against familiarity. It can very much benefit a story, but in this case, the more the film unfolded and wanted to flesh out those ideas, and the more nuance Zac Efron's performance presented as he is confronted by the harsh reality that so much challenged his strong convictions, the film simply refused to acknowledge this to a deeper level and just played it very safe, which felt disappointing, particularly because this is a real-life story. You can go hard on these things. It's a real war and these are real people, and so I wanted more from it because I know Farrelly is capable of doing it. The Greatest Beer Run Ever has heart and unexpected death. Worldviews are challenged by the horrors of war in familiar but compelling ways. Zac Efron shines, bringing genuine heartfelt sincerity in a more nuanced performance than the script itself that more often than not fails at blending melancholy and sincerity well through its two halves. I'm giving The Greatest Beer Run Ever a B-. That's my review of The Greatest Beer Run Ever. Let me know what you make of it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned because now we've kicked off LFF and I have many London Film Festival reviews to come. Big thanks to my channel members for always supporting the channel, and until the next one, love each other and love the movies.